let's also talk about choosing a space. When I say a space, a place you want to sell a product or do commerce. So choosing a space, it really boils down to what do you bring to that space? Who's your DNA? Like, who are you? And what do you see in that space? And not only that, but at the end of the day, where do you see that it needs improvement? Is it a design? Is it a cost? Is it the quality? What are you bringing to that space? Do you feel there's an improvement that you can make in that space? Do you feel that you're an expert in that space? And this is really one of those things where choosing a space to go into is really important. Because if you don't see any real improvement creatively or quality or financially, a difference there, it's really hard making a name for yourself in that space. So when I think of going into something, whatever it may be, if you want to go into shoestrings or if you want to go into making glasses or whatever, it's owning that space and figuring out what you're doing better than the competition and what can you see. And it's not necessarily in a brick and mortar, because now our world is direct to consumer and a lot of other avenues of selling. But what do you see that's different about your brand? So what is your DNA? I mean, what are you made of as far as your brand, and what do you bring to that space? That's the most important thing I think in this small episode. Choosing a space. And typically when I talk about space, I talk about hyper-focus space. So very, you're so focused on one little space, because anybody can make a bunch of products and you can make a bunch of things and shoot it all over the world and shoot it all over a dartboard or whatever you want to do. But to choose that space and be hyper-focused on what that particular space is and how you're going to make it better. That's the only way you're going to make it into the game, or so to speak, onto the field, or however you want to look at it. And that's really the most important thing. If you see yourself doing something different, and it may be, like I said, in a financial or a creative way, you could get into that space. But what really makes you different? So when you see that, or when someone else is from the outside saying, wait a second, here's someone coming in that's new, what is different? Because you have to make a noise. In this world, you have to be hyper-focused on everything you do, because there's so many people. It's just everybody's out there doing something. They all want to be brands. They all want to take into space. But what makes you different, honestly? So I think in this episode, I really want you to ask questions, but I really think that it's important to know who you are, what the brand speaks to other people, and how it's seen from inside that space. So let's take a minute and really think about what that is. And then how do you attack it? How do you make it better? So if your brand is hyper-focused on this particular thing and you see it in that marketplace and you see a difference, then I think you're in the game. And if you're in the game, that's just part of it. So this is the beginning. Hopefully you can make a difference.